It's just so weird to sit down with you for a podcast.
I know. I'm so
Then we
excited.
just could sit down normally and just talk. These are the ones you have to be careful about because I'm so used to talking to you, like just being so comfortable.
Yeah.
It
Well,
could
I
end
think
up.
you'll be comfortable.
I know I'm going to be comfortable, but I'm worried I might say something.
I hope you see something. That's the whole Lori. And I've never started a podcast like this. So I just want to say to everyone, welcome to the Capital Coffee Connection podcast.
You are awesome for doing this and doing it in the bipartisan manner. I mean, in many ways, it's healing, I think, the conversations, not for your subjects necessarily, which I still think it is, but for people who are hearing, you're humanizing a lot of the people in this place, and we really did that.
Yes, because when the doors are closed, I know there's human reaction,
Yes.
relationships. And for me, I have learned so much. But what I've also learned, if you take politics and policy out of the conversation and you just talk to these people, most of everybody who are your colleagues, they're here for a reason, just to take care of other people.
Yes.
We just maybe see it differently sometimes. But
Yeah.
for me, the beauty is that I get to just talk with you today in the midst of everything that you do about your heart and humanity.
Yeah.
I was thinking, I introduced with like how I know somebody or relationships. And I've known you for a long time.
Yeah.
But I think back to October 7th.
Yeah.
And that day changed my life, changed your life, and our lives intersected because, and you told the story,
Yes.
we met on an airplane on October 5th.
Yeah.
We were both going to Israel.
But that's not our first meet.
No.
Oh, yeah.
No, but we met, we were both on the same plane. And you said, what are you doing tonight?
Yes.
You were going to dance and with the Torah,
Yes.
assist the Torah.
That's our story, yeah.
And I was going to visit my daughter.
Yes.
And I said, and you said, come with me,
Yes.
come with my team.
Yes.
And I said, great. And it was a beautiful night.
It was an amazing night.
And it was a night that was so special.
Seeing you dance with the Torah as a person who's never been to shul in Israel.
Yes, it's a
Gave
good
me some sleep.
You can remember those days. Yes, I told you I'd never been to shul in Israel and I'd never danced with the Torah in my life.
Yes.
And you brought me there.
Yeah. It was
Which
amazing.
again goes to this part of this, it's not about religion, it's about humanity.
Yes.
Because you aren't a Jew.
Yeah.
But you have Jew heart in many ways, but you were born, but you had celebrated Simchat Torah.
Yes.
You had been to shul.
Yes.
And I hadn't.
Yes.
I don't know what that says about me.
It just was a testimony of the crazy world.
Yeah.
And that night, that magical night, it was magical. And not only did I joked because I said I wanted to dance with you with the Torah. Then I realized the shoe you were going to, that was not possible. We were across the room with a divider. But I remember going over and seeing it. And I was moved. I was really brought a lot of emotion to me. Then we went to one of these Shabbats, which is the best kind of Shabbat, where you have tons of multi-generational action. Everything's going on. Your food's going around the table and everything like that. It was a perfect and beautiful night.
It was a beautiful night.
Yeah, magic.
And then I go to Tel Aviv here in Jerusalem.
Yeah.
And you're on this incredible trip to visit with Jews, Palestinians, people in the Middle East, the Gulf region, to talk about how to proceed and push forward peace and the Abraham.
Actually, we were going to meet principally with Saudis and Palestinians in the West Bank because all of us, our Palestinian contacts, our Saudi contacts, everybody believed that this was the most hopeful we'd seen in a generation for getting a two-state solution and getting peace. And we knew the Israelis were in the negotiations too. So I had met a lot with the State Department, with Mobilik, the chief negotiator. So it was this time of hope. Most of my trips to Israel, I try to go to the West Bank as well. And some of the times it was painful for the lack of hope. And this was just such a high.
And then the next morning
Was
a disaster. It was horrible. And the first person I called outside of my family was to you.
Yeah.
Because we were in conversation and I told you that my niece and her husband had been murdered. And at that moment, we brought the 3-year-old little girl and Abigail, their daughter, had been murdered. And we learned this from a boy, 9 years old, and a girl, 6 years old, named Michael and Amalia, in a cupboard, not unlike what you have here,
Yes.
hiding, because their parents had been murdered.
Yes.
And the story goes longer, but I wanted to say to you, like, from that day until now, and unfortunately, as we speak, there's still hostages and there's still Palestinian suffering, Israeli suffering, people suffering. But you were there for me as a friend, and you were there for so many. And with your busy life, I'm not here to indulge you too much,
Yeah, it's right.
but I just want to say thank you.
We were there for each other, and the universe, God, I would say, wanted us to be together.
Yeah.
It was very, very purposeful. It was the shared. And so I don't look at it as anything that God wanted us to be bonded on that day and together and to taste the sweetness and beauty of hope and in that deep darkness, frankly, to be lights for each other.
Exactly. And that is, this is a conversation, and it is so important for people to understand that that is what this is about.
Yeah.
How do you give each other the strength?
Yes.
And for me,
And I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we both gave each other strength at times where we were probably feeling the weakest, like we had no strength to give. Yeah. And that's almost like, I guess maybe math, you know, a negative and a negative make a positive.
Yeah. Two negatives make a positive.
Yeah. So I think that being in community is so important, especially in times of hurt and pain. Yeah. You know, I'm writing a book right now, as I've been complaining to you about what a blessing I have, but what a burden as well. A lot of work. And the chapter I'm working on right now is community, and do all this research and data that shows how cancerous isolation is, how cancerous lack of community is, how it brings about the myth of being normal. It's a great book that we're using as well. Like, it brings about such disease and dis-ease. So I just appreciate that that you and I were in community together and were able to provide on so many dark days when I was really struggling in January, February, March. You were just like a godsend for me.
Okay, so now normally I would talk about your past.
There's nothing normal about it.
But normal. but I'm gonna be honest, like, people know there's a lot about you out there.
Yeah.
And what I want to do is like try to get people to just sort of get to know who you are for your part of humanity.
Great.
You are the New Jersey senator, you are a senior senator, you were an incredible mayor of Newark. Your mom thinks you're amazing, your family thinks you're amazing. You stood for 25 hours and 4 minutes fighting for what you believe in.
Yes.
And that's who you are as a leader.
Yes.
You've done hunger strikes, you've done things. But what I also look at is people need to look at you and go, wait a minute, like, he's this senator, I could never be this person. And what I think is that everybody could be, in their own way, what you do. And the question I have for you is, where did you come from? Like, what did your parents do or give to you that gave you this strength to believe in yourself at this moment?
Again, I think all that we are, so much of our childhood, it really sets you on a course. I had this unbelievable blessing of these extraordinary parents who really fought to give me, as one of my friends says, roots and wings, like to ground me. Let gratitude be my gravity. You better understand how unbelievably blessed you are, but then also to tell me with these blessings, you have an obligation to do as much as you possibly can. And in fact, this is so funny. This is like a question that my mom asked me: what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? Right. When I was stuck trying to figure out what to do with my life, it's just like, you have an obligation to like take big risks in your life in pursuit of your passions and your dreams and your goals. So my parents are such phenomenal forces in my life, but then I'm also just blessed, you know, because of a extraordinary group of blacks and whites, Christians and Jews. We integrated in a town.
Yeah.
Yeah. In 1969, they weren't letting blacks. They were finding creative ways to keep blacks out of this unbelievably nurturing community. When I say they, it was the real estate agent, you know, who was steering people away. And because of this epic intervention where literally you had white couples posing as my parents, this Kai Mari Friedman getting attacked by the real estate agent, all of this. So my parents were like, you know, you're grown up. You have no idea what it took to get you here, not to mention all of the Goodman, Cheney, Schwerner, people literally dying for the rights that you enjoy. And so you grow up with this sense of privilege that your parents want you to understand that you have, but also the obligation that lives with you and the ancestors my parents had surrounding us, and pictures of great leaders, pictures of family, all that.
But they asked you humble too.
Yeah.
They didn't let your head get too big.
No, I knew you were joking before because you said your mom thinks. I was joking. You've heard this joke before that my mom says when she introduces me all the time. You know, behind every successful child is an astonished parent. Like my mom's like, this is the kid I couldn't get to like mow the lawn or make his bed.
I know, but I'm sure if your mom calls and says, Cory,
yeah,
you know you got to do something.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. But I think we have a chapter in this book I'm writing too about humility. Like, it's important. There are virtues that I think are vital.
Yeah.
And my parents tried their best not just to instill those in me, but my favorite quote by James Baldwin is that children are never good at listening to their elders, but they never fail to imitate them.
Oh, touche. Exactly.
Yeah.
Did you have a teacher in school? Because not all your schools, but in your elementary years, because I think there's this amazing pattern of teachers that people remember so well that saw them when they were young.
Yeah, but I've heard that. The teacher I had from grade school through high school, I even had Jody Maxman, God bless you, like epic teacher. So when you say my grade school, I had 6th grade teachers, 7th grade teachers. I'm still in touch with these teachers. Yeah. High school teachers, like and that's again when I reflect about how blessed I was to be in this small, affluent, relatively affluent community that had these great public schools that everybody didn't have access to, that we wanted for nothing, that we had unbelievable people that dedicated their lives. I think about this now as an adult. I had a few teachers at grade school that like they were our coaches. Mr. Walker's my coach. He also did the student plays. I was terrified about speaking in front of people and then shoving.
Really, you did student plays?
Yes.
What was your if you remember one of your roles?
I do. I mean, I don't start singing West Side Story because I was a Jet. And when you're a Jet, you're a Jet all the way. Yeah. Yes, we did MASH. But for me, I was terrified of speaking in front of crowds. You? Yes.
No.
Yes. And then on Thursday nights, he held something called Coffee House, which was like our social, like dances. And I won lip syncing contests. And the first time I ever got to ask a girl to dance. And then the first time I ever faced rejection of asking a girl to dance. I mean, but one teacher
got you to do all those things, experience.
But when does he sleep? Like you see these Americans who are public school teachers who never rest. They're doing things around the clock.
They are helping to raise children.
Yes. And so that's when I say that, like, I always say it's a conspiracy of love. Those of us who are sort of live lives of abundance, you have so many adult figures that invest so much in you. And I know that Jewish communities like this, Black communities like this, I didn't even know some of the people I called aunts and uncles were not my aunts and uncles. Like they were just like part of the village that really takes to raise.
And also, I also know that the people that you grew up with, your friends from growing up, are still your friends.
Yes.
Those are the people that you count on for if you need anything. And that's the sign of a beautiful child, I believe.
Yeah, I've got grade school friends, I've got high school friends. I just feel like those first 18 years are forged friendships. And by the way, we don't all have the same politics. Like there are people now that the way we segment ourselves based upon left or right, but these are people that are like brothers and sisters to me, despite the fact that some of them might not vote for me.
Exactly. They may vote
for me, but I might be the only exception they made for Democrats.
But I'm going to say this, which I haven't said, but after October 7th, before I was a Democrat, October 7th, I woke up an American.
Yes.
And I think that what we've lost is fighting on sides. And this podcast and my life and people I've been meeting with on both sides and Christians and Muslims and Jews, white, Black, Asian, Latino. I mean, just all through this last 2 years, we have one thing in common is our humanity. And it cannot be that I have to know what side you're on.
Yes. But that's a beautiful thing I love about your book. And then obviously I had the blessing of talking to you through this process, to see how you came to love. And I don't use that word in any way watered down. You came to love colleagues of mine on the other side of the aisle.
Yes.
And really moved by them. Like your humanity was touched by their humanity.
Yeah. Okay. That's the segue because I picked this quote, which I'm going to put my glasses on.
Okay, yes.
Because
I need. Yeah. I've got two there.
I borrowed some from you, but I know you love to read.
Yes.
And I know you love James Baldwin.
Yes.
And each time when I meet with different leaders, I try to find a quote or something. And this is the one, and it's interesting that we got here, that I picked.
Okay.
It's from The Fire Next Time.
Yes.
And this, I have lived this recently in so many ways. So that's why this is so pertinent.
I love it.
And I think you live this. Love takes off the masks that we fear we cannot live without and know we cannot live within.
Yes.
I use the word love here not merely in the personal sense, but as a state of being or as a state of grace. Not in the infantile American sense of being made happy, but in the tough and universal sense of quest and daring and growth. And that is, I think, who you are It has touched me when I read this I read it off and on,
Yes.
looking for sometimes just strength in other people. And this is what it's about.
Yeah.
This is where we are right now.
Yeah. And it's hard for me, and I'm reliving this experience of it. You know, when I ran for president the first time, a lot of people said to me that, oh, you can't run a presidential campaign and talk about love all the time. And I'm hearing it now with my staff when we talk about fighting in this moment, fighting, being tough. And it's something like that people don't think they're the same thing. Baldwin was a ferocious fighter for justice, and yet he talked about love throughout his writing in a mature, adult, get real, put your big girl, big boy pants on, and take this world on. And so that's why he's another person that sits on my desk. I hate going to that corner, but that's, I think, what we need. It's kind of love that I think you've been discovering through pain. I mean,
Yes.
your love is wounded. Your love is had to be resurrected at times, but that's the strongest type of love that there is. And I think, and you've heard me say this a lot, like, if America hasn't broken your heart, you don't love her enough. To love something,
It has to have some pain.
it has to have.
And I think that the more powerful the love, it comes from a place where I don't want anyone to suffer, but when you have been hit hard and you have to then go and fight,
Yes.
there is a courage, there's a vulnerability, and you have to use love in that. And I think that the problem comes down to that we get used to loving in a Hallmark card. I love you, I love you, and I love you,
Yes.
and I know you love me, and we love people. But this is like something in the belly, in the gut, in the heart, in the mind that is so rich. And I think that's what he was speaking about, that it's almost scary. Because, yeah, I have had an opportunity to meet many of your colleagues on the Republican side and interviewing them, but also meeting with them. I've seen them talk.
Yeah.
I've seen their hearts. So I think that this is a question. It doesn't mean not being tough. Everyone's got to go out and fight. I've been fighting.
Right.
I fight every day to somebody. And you fight for things. But if you fight with love, I think you have a better chance.
I think ultimately that is the hope we have, is that the hope lies within that kind of love. And I want to add one part to you, because you're saying it, but I want to put the word to it, is love demands that you be vulnerable, that you leave your safety and comfort and pull your heart out and put it out in danger and at risk. And that's why I think you have become such a powerful advocate, because of your hurt and pain, and because you were willing to get way out of your comfort zone, way to being vulnerable and letting people see, like a lot of us walk around with hidden pain, hidden hurt.
Mine is out there. Mine's out there.
Yours is out there. And I've found that I was with a guy in an interview like this, that he starts telling me about his mental health struggles, which tough guys don't talk about their depression and their not being stuck and not being able to get going. And I almost wanted to hug him and say, thank you. Like, we need more men that, especially with your kind of, this guy had a lot of presence, a lot of stature rather, that are willing to talk about their hurt and their vulnerability and their imperfection and their mistakes. And that's, I think, creates a whole new world of possibility.
And I will just add to that, which is, it's a process. But I also, when I talk about this, hate is what got us to so many bad places.
Yeah.
That if you put more hate into the world, we are going to be in this cycle. And I know that you're fighting for the children. I fight for my great niece and all these kids. I fight for Israeli kids, Palestinian kids. I fight for kids. I know that's what you do in your work. And what I know is that we have to put more love into this.
Yes. Yes. And if you are fighting in a way that creates us versus them, that otherizes people, you may think you're championing your people, but you're putting them in more of a harm's way.
Yeah.
If you can't extend your love vastly and widely to all in an inclusive way. And that's what worries me sometimes. And when you're hurt, you want to lash out and otherize people. But what the power I was raised on, which was the power of civil rights activists, even the way that King Moore, Fred Shuttlesworth talked about the very people that were being them, they never ever demeaned or degraded their humanity. They fought fiercely against the laws and the actions, but still found a way to extend that love.
So now we're talking about what you love.
Yes.
Okay, so these are my quick, rapid questions.
Okay.
Because I know
Speed round.
it's a speed round. At some point, you got to go and do your
Yeah,
job.
I'm looking at the vote count getting
Yeah.
higher and higher.
Okay, favorite sound.
Wow, I've never been asked that question. My favorite sound? The first thing that got in my mind was a sound of silence.
I think that's a song.
It is. Yeah, I wrote it. No. But it might be just sitting.
Look, or Garfunkel,
Yeah. I've been thinking a lot about that and smell.
Okay, that's my next question. What is your favorite scent?
I think people that I love.
Wow, that's a good one.
Yeah. Here's a weird story. When I spent my first Christmas away, like when I lived in Oxford, I didn't come home for a full year.
Yeah.
For a long time. My dad came out to visit me once. He leaves, and I realized he had borrowed one of my T-shirts. And when I smelled it,
It was home.
he makes me crying out of my desk corn. But
Yeah.
like, I can't tell you and what I would do to smell him. And so here's the weird thing: is Alexis and I fostered a dog. She fostered a dog.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, okay. But 7 days we had this dog, and it was a puppy, and it's so much fun. And I told her today, I said, I just said, in New Year, I went down to the dog bed and smelled for it, the dog, because I loved that dog. I felt it made
brought you joy.
It brought me joy,
I love
and the dog had a particular smell, and so I think that's what dogs know this. Every human being has a different smell. Every animal has a different smell, and so I've learned the power of scent is unbelievable.
I love that.
Yeah.
No. Okay, we can go on and on beginning of time. So we'll talk about that more in our another conversation.
Yes.
Favorite color.
Blue, sky blue. I love lying on a rich day with these puffy white clouds and seeing the dark, but the kind of like the sky blue color. It's amazing. Yeah.
Biggest cheerleader.
Oh, wow. I would say go back to my mom. Yeah.
And she's a cheerleader, but she's also an honest cheerleader.
Wow. Brutally honest.
I just could stick with honest.
You know what? I told her I was going to do the 25 hours. She's tired of like having decades of me doing physical things that are dangerous.
Of course.
And she said she's like wears to the thing, especially my mayoral city council years. It was like a 10-day hunger strike, living in mobile home.
Yeah.
Parking in really violent drug corners, moving into projects.
Yeah,
And
just
she-
a few things that a
and
mother
she-
would freak out.
Yeah. So at 56, she looks at me and she says to me on the phone, she goes, I know I can't talk you out of this, but it's not that safe. You know that, not drinking for a whole day,
Yeah.
she's like, her other son had a stroke and all these things. And yeah, so she cares. So she was not like, she goes, I can't talk you out of this, but okay. All right. And then she shifted into
I love
it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good mom.
Very
Yeah.
quick.
Favorite sports teams.
Easily the Giants. I'm the 1986 high school football player of the year, the New Jersey Giants.
Okay.
I say New Jersey Giants.
I know,
I'm like,
but yeah.
I got a dispensation for their ownership. The Yankees. I grew up in the 76, 77, the perfect timing for that. And then I'm a little bit without a basketball team because the Nets were New Jersey's team, and then they moved to Newark.
Yeah.
And then
No, they moved to where?
to Newark,
Yeah.
and then these people came over at night, stuck into my city, and stole my team and dragged them to Brooklyn.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, they stole them.
They stole it. It was theft.
Okay, we'll
Yeah,
talk about that another time.
Yes.
Favorite meal if you could have one meal.
I mean, I'm thinking my last meal, I had this incredible Impossible burger with French fries. So that was my last cheat meal that was unbelievably good.
That's a yummy one.
Oh my gosh. And I have to have a little vegan mayo with my ketchup. That may sound gross, but yes. But I love food. You know this. I love food.
So you're vegan, so it's an interesting combination to figure out.
Yeah, but I'm a big foodie. So yeah, breakfast would probably be my favorite meal.
I wasn't going to ask you.
Yeah.
And what's your favorite dessert?
Wow.
Okay, so what's your favorite breakfast meal?
I mean, I love waffles and pancakes. Yeah, those kind of things.
Yeah, there's a place in New York that has the best blueberry vegan pancakes ever.
Okay, let me know. I know you were saying that there's 80 people that have voted.
Favorite music?
I would say gospel genre. And I would say, if you look at my Spotify top list, it'd be everybody from Bruce to Stevie Wonder to Prince.
Okay. Favorite book?
Fire Next Time is my favorite book.
I like it.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the hard one. Favorite household chore?
I don't know why. So Alexis and I moved in together, and I've become obsessed with taking out the trash. I don't know, it's weird, but I just like going around to all the little trash cans that might be in her bathroom, whatever. I just feel something
Keep it
up.
clean. Keep it clean.
Yes, okay.
What is your superpower?
I hope it's empathy and love. I really do. I hope that's it. But I know I can get better, and I'm learning. My whole life has been a lesson in learning to be better at loving others.
Yeah, it's a process. Okay, what does joy mean to you? And if you are joyful, how do you share that joy with others?
I think joy is fearless, abundant, explosions of just feeling kindness, gratitude. It's this mix of emotions that could be found in laughter, but in the simplest human connection. I've had a few moments of just joy and hugs today with people that work in this place. I was rushing to a really big, important hearing, and this incredible guy who cleans in the Senate buildings. And he and I, we used to live close to each other. We created this wonderful bond. And I'm just like, all this big, important here. And I see him, and he turns around and gives me this look like he hasn't seen me in a while. I stop and I hug him. And that moment, it just brought me back to what's really important. And I felt the joy of him. And I felt just he inspired that.
And you gave him joy.
I hope so.
I'm sure you did.
You could talk to them and ask them.
You know, I think that like the one thing I can say is that this has been joyful.
Yeah.
Just, you know, that. But thank you. And, you know, thank you, because what I want people to hear is that not the stuff that you can normally speak in 2 or 3 minute sound bites, but to really get to know who you are. And you are able to share, like these jokes in the beginning, you're going to say things and you share things that I think make you more real. And it's not that you're not real, but people do look at you and see you're a senator from the great state of New Jersey. You're here in the Capitol.
Well, what we share is real, and that is a gift. And what's the old blessing? May you have at least one friend that truly knows you and is still your friend anyway. You are on those friends too.
Okay.
I love you.
Thank you so much. Okay, bye. Hi, it's Liz. Please join me for coffee to talk about heart and humanity with our elected leaders. Remember to hit subscribe to get an alert when a new episode is live and for exclusive content. Ciao.